Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cozy English Corner, where learning English is easy, cozy, and fun. I'm Mia.
And I'm Jack. We're so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're drinking your morning coffee, walking home, or simply taking a little break, welcome.
Jack, can I ask you a question?
Of course. Although I have a feeling this isn't going to be an easy one.
Maybe not. When was the last time you felt hopeful?
That's an interesting question. My first thought was when something good happened. You know, getting good news, reaching a goal, finally finishing a big project. Those moments make me feel hopeful.
Only the big moments?
I suppose so. At least, those are the ones I remember first. What about you?
Actually, I don't think the last time I felt hopeful was a big moment at all.
Really? What happened?
Honestly, almost nothing. Yesterday morning, I was making tea before work. I looked out of the kitchen window. It had rained during the night. Everything looked fresh and quiet. There was one little bird sitting on the garden fence. For some reason, I stopped what I was doing and watched it for a minute.
That doesn't sound like a life-changing moment.
Exactly. Nothing extraordinary happened. The bird flew away. I finished making my tea. My day continued as usual. But for a few seconds, I felt calm and strangely hopeful.
Hopeful because of a bird?
Maybe not because of the bird itself. Maybe because it reminded me that life was still moving. Morning still came. The rain had stopped. The world was carrying on quietly.
That's interesting. If you'd asked me yesterday where hope comes from, I probably would have said success or good news. I don't think I would have said a bird sitting on a fence.
Most people probably wouldn't. I think we spend so much time waiting for the next big thing that we sometimes forget to notice the small things already happening around us.
Maybe that's why hope can feel so far away. We're looking for fireworks while life keeps offering us little candles.
I love that. Because today's conversation isn't really about birds, or tea, or even rainy mornings. It's about a simple question. Have we been looking for hope in the wrong places?
That's a question I've never really asked myself before. But after hearing your story, I think it's worth exploring. If that morning had happened a year ago, do you think you would have noticed it?
Honestly, probably not. I would have made my tea, looked at my phone, and rushed out the door.
I think a lot of us live like that. We're always looking at what's next. The next meeting, the next weekend, the next holiday, the next goal.
Exactly. Sometimes we're so busy waiting for tomorrow that we almost miss today.
That reminds me of something that happened a few weeks ago. I was walking home after work. It had been one of those long days. You know the kind, when your head is full of things you still need to do. Emails, shopping, laundry, dinner. I wasn't really paying attention to anything around me.
We've all had days like that. What happened?
I stopped at a traffic light. While I was waiting, I looked up. The whole sky was orange and pink. The sunset was incredible. People around me stopped walking for a moment. Some smiled. A few took photos. And for the first time that day, everything felt completely still.
Did it change your day?
Not in a dramatic way. My problems didn't disappear. I still had work to do. But for a minute, I felt lighter. Almost as if someone had quietly reminded me there's more to life than today's to-do list.
I love that. Sometimes we think hope has to solve our problems. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe hope simply reminds us that our problems aren't the whole story.
I think that's true. The sunset didn't change my life. It changed my mood. And sometimes that's enough.
You know, I think moments like that slowly change the way we see life. They change our perspective.
That's a good word. Because the world didn't change. Only the way I was looking at it changed.
Exactly. And sometimes that's all it takes. One quiet moment, one deep breath, one beautiful sky to remind us that life is bigger than whatever is worrying us today.
Maybe hope doesn't arrive because life suddenly becomes perfect. Maybe it arrives when we finally slow down enough to notice what's already there.
I think that's a beautiful thought. But it makes me wonder about something else. If these quiet moments are happening all around us, why do we miss so many of them?
That's a really interesting question. If these moments are happening all the time, why do we miss them?
I have a simple answer. Because we're usually somewhere else.
What do you mean?
Our bodies are here, but our minds aren't. We're having breakfast while thinking about work. We're walking outside while reading emails. We're talking to someone while planning tomorrow.
I hate to admit it, but that's me. Sometimes I arrive home and realize I barely remember the drive.
Exactly. Nothing was wrong. You were just busy thinking.
I think that's why small moments are so easy to miss. They're quiet. They don't ask for our attention. They're just there.
Can I tell you another little story?
Please, I'm enjoying these stories.
A few weeks ago, I was sitting on a park bench reading a book. After a while, I looked up. An elderly couple was walking very slowly along the path. They weren't talking much. Every now and then, they looked at each other and smiled. One of them reached for the other's hand. Then they kept walking. It probably lasted 10 seconds.
That's such a simple moment.
It was, but for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about it afterwards. Not because something exciting happened, because it reminded me that happiness is often very quiet.
That reminds me of something I saw recently. A little girl was trying to fly a kite with her dad. The kite kept falling to the ground. She laughed, picked it up, and tried again. Finally, the wind caught it. She looked up and shouted, "It's flying!" Everyone nearby smiled, even people who didn't know her.
That's lovely. Her happiness lasted only a few seconds, but it changed the mood of everyone around her.
And I realized something. Those moments don't make the news. Nobody plans them. Most people don't even take a picture. But somehow, they stay with us.
Maybe that's because they're real. They're not perfect. They're not designed to impress anyone. They're simply ordinary life.
You know, I think I've started to appreciate moments like that much more than I used to. A quiet evening, a good conversation, fresh air after the rain. They don't seem very important at first, but together they make life feel richer.
I like that. And maybe that's something we slowly learn as we get older. We stop chasing every exciting moment and begin enjoying the ordinary ones.
I think social media sometimes makes that difficult. We see holidays, celebrations, new houses, big achievements. After a while, we start believing that ordinary days don't matter.
When actually, most of our lives are made of ordinary days. And maybe that's good news, because it means we don't have to wait for something extraordinary before we can feel hopeful.
Exactly. Maybe hope isn't hiding at the end of a perfect year. Maybe it's already waiting for us in today's ordinary moments.
I love that thought. But there's one more thing I'd like to explore. If hope grows through these small moments, can we actually create more of them ourselves? I don't think we have to wait. I think we can make space for them.
What does that look like?
It's usually very simple. Going for a walk without your phone. Making your favorite drink and actually sitting down to enjoy it. Calling someone you haven't spoken to for a while. Reading a few pages of a good book before bed. None of those things are extraordinary, but together, they can quietly change the way a day feels.
That reminds me of learning English. People often ask, what's the fastest way to become fluent? They're looking for one big answer, one perfect method, one magic trick.
But there isn't one.
Exactly. It's usually 20 minutes of practice, listening to one podcast, learning a few new words, having one short conversation. Those tiny moments don't seem very important until you look back 6 months later.
I think hope works in exactly the same way. It grows quietly, day after day, moment after moment. Sometimes we don't even notice it's happening.
That's true. When I think about the happiest periods of my life, I don't remember one huge event. I remember lots of little moments connected together.
Like what?
Saturday mornings without an alarm, cooking with my family, long conversations with friends, walking home after dinner on a warm summer evening. Those memories are all very ordinary, but together they tell the story of a happy life.
I love that. Because happiness isn't usually one spectacular moment. It's hundreds of ordinary moments that slowly become memories.
And maybe that's why hope feels stronger when we stop chasing it. When we stop asking, when will life finally become better? And start asking, what's good about today?
Exactly. That small change in perspective can make a huge difference. Not because life suddenly changes, but because we begin noticing parts of it that we used to overlook.
There's another word I've been thinking about today, appreciate. I don't think I appreciated ordinary days very much when I was younger. I was always waiting for weekends, or holidays, or the next exciting thing.
Me too. Now I think ordinary days deserve much more attention. They're where most of life actually happens.
Maybe hope isn't something we discover once. Maybe it's something we practice. Every time we slow down, every time we notice something beautiful, every time we appreciate what we already have.
I think that's beautifully said. And maybe that's why those little moments matter so much. One quiet morning won't change your whole life. Neither will one sunset or one conversation. But hundreds of those moments can slowly change the way you see the world.
Which makes me think, when we look back years from now, the moments we'll remember probably won't be the biggest ones. They'll be the quiet ones we almost missed.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's the perfect place to return to where we started. Let's talk about what those quiet moments have taught us.
You know, when we started today's conversation, I was convinced that hope came from big moments. A promotion, a holiday, a dream coming true. Now, I'm not so sure.
Neither am I. I think hope is much quieter than we imagine.
It's funny. The stories we shared today were all very simple. A bird on a fence, a beautiful sunset, an elderly couple holding hands, a little girl flying a kite. None of those moments changed the world, but somehow they changed us.
Maybe that's because they reminded us of something we easily forget. Life isn't only happening in the future, it's happening right now.
I like that. Sometimes we're so busy waiting for a better tomorrow that we forget today has something to offer too.
And I don't think hope means pretending everything is perfect. We all have difficult days, stress, disappointment, uncertainty. Hope doesn't make those things disappear. It simply reminds us they're not the whole story.
That really stayed with me. Our problems may be real, but they're never the only thing that's real. There's still kindness, still beauty, still laughter, still quiet moments waiting to be noticed.
Sometimes we catch a little glimpse of that, just for a moment. A smile from a stranger, the smell of fresh coffee, sunlight through the trees, a phone call from a friend. Those moments don't solve everything, but they remind us that good things still exist.
I love that word, a glimpse, because that's exactly what hope often feels like. Not a perfect ending, just a small reminder that there's still light ahead.
You know, I don't think anyone listening today needs to completely change their life. Maybe all we need is to notice one more beautiful moment tomorrow than we noticed today. That's enough.
I think so too. If you're listening while walking, maybe look around for a second. If you're drinking coffee, really taste it. If someone smiles at you today, smile back. Those moments may seem ordinary, but ordinary moments have a wonderful habit of becoming unforgettable memories.
And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from today's conversation. Hope doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives quietly, asking us to slow down, look up, and pay attention.
I think I'll remember that little bird for a long time. Not because it was extraordinary, but because it reminded me that extraordinary isn't always what we need.
Exactly. Sometimes a quiet morning is more powerful than a perfect day.
Before we finish, there's one more thing we'd love to share with you. Let's explore some useful vocabulary from today's conversation.
And today, we've chosen 5 words that fit our theme perfectly. Let's begin. Our first word is perspective.
We actually used that word earlier when we were talking about the sunset.
Exactly. Perspective is the way you see or think about a situation. Sometimes your situation stays exactly the same, but your perspective changes. For example, traveling gave me a different perspective on life. Or, try looking at the problem from another perspective.
I like that. The sunset didn't change my life, it changed my perspective.
Next is appreciate.
We talked about appreciating ordinary days.
That's right. To appreciate something means to recognize its value and be thankful for it. For example, I've learned to appreciate quiet mornings, or I really appreciate your kindness.
I think that's something many of us forget to do. We're often thinking about what we don't have instead of appreciating what we already do.
Our third word is glimpse.
I really liked that one.
A glimpse is a quick look or a very short experience of something. For example, I caught a glimpse of a rainbow, or today's conversation gave me a glimpse of hope.
I think that's exactly what those quiet moments do. They give us little glimpses of hope.
Our fourth word is contentment. Contentment means a peaceful feeling of happiness and satisfaction, not excitement, not success, just a quiet feeling that, in this moment, things are enough. For example, she felt a sense of contentment while sitting by the lake.
That reminds me of your story at the beginning. A cup of tea, a bird on a fence, a quiet morning. That wasn't excitement, it was contentment.
And our final word today is resilient.
I remember hearing that word before.
A resilient person is someone who keeps going after difficult times. Life isn't always easy, but resilient people recover and continue moving forward. For example, she's resilient and never gives up. Or, learning a language helps you become more resilient because you keep trying after mistakes.
I like that definition. Being resilient doesn't mean you're happy every day. It simply means you don't stop moving forward.
Let's do a quick review.
Perspective, the way you see a situation.
Perfect.
Appreciate, to recognize the value of something.
Exactly.
Glimpse, a quick look or a short moment of something.
That's right.
Contentment, a quiet feeling of happiness.
Very good.
And resilient, someone who keeps going even after difficult times.
Excellent. Those are 5 wonderful words to add to your English vocabulary.
Before we say goodbye, here's our question for you. What's one small moment that made you smile this week? Maybe it was a conversation, a beautiful sunset, a good cup of coffee, a walk, or simply a few peaceful minutes to yourself. Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your story.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope today's conversation reminds you that hope doesn't always arrive in big moments. Sometimes it quietly appears in the little ones.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Cozy English Corner for more relaxed English conversations every week.
Take care, keep learning, and stay cozy.